Hi YouTubers, and back for another What Would Have Happened If This Were in Real Life RhinoTMRT Gameplay Series YouTube video. Now this is the second time because my iPad decided to glitch on me, just died out on me. Apparently this is the second time it's happened. Like, why can't I just catch a break from all this? Why does it have to glitch on me? I don't know, maybe my iPad's too old for me. Oh, because it's elderly and it can't even work like it used to. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know why. It's just, the point is I just don't know why. And I'll never know why it keeps on doing this. So yeah, I'm just going to start it right here and right now. And if my iPad, and I swear to God, if my iPad dies on me right now, in the before it becomes an 11-minute YouTube video, I'm not gonna do, not gonna. It's not. It just keeps on doing this. It doesn't even care. It doesn't even care whether or not I finish this or not. It doesn't even care. It just loves to destroy it just loves to glitch out on me, and then I lose the battery percentage. It keeps on doing that over and over, and then I have to deal with this. So yeah, okay, so this is what would have happened if the Prince Charming and Fairy Godmother, a Shrek story movie were in real life. Now we cut open to the beginning where it has the DreamWorks logo, and it goes forward and through there. So that's kind of how it goes. And then we see that it's totally different and totally obvious, because who wouldn't want to see two characters in a prequel spin-off movie? Because who wouldn't want to do that? Yeah, well, that, and of course other stuff as well. So we of course see Prince Charming as he's defeated several monsters, fallen in love with a lot of princesses, kind of like how they do it in every other way. And I'm just gonna make this clear. I know what it is, because this is the second try, and it just keeps on doing this to me, and the glitching out, and then because I feel like my iPad's getting a bit older, or maybe it wants me to charge my iPad and do this at the same time, but that's too complicated, so I don't know if I can do that. So probably no on that. So yeah, and then of course we see Prince Charming go for a bunch of trees. Finally, we're back on track. Until when he goes to a castle, and then that castle ends up being the same place, land far, far away. I'm just gonna call it the land far, far away. And then of course he goes inside this area, goes inside this underground area, and then he sees other people who are just like him, waiting to finish a quest, a big high ranking quest that will make them, famous and better. Which I guess kind of does make a lot of sense, because, I kind of wanted to do this one and it felt very great. And I don't know, because my iPad keeps glitching on me every time when I record. Sometimes when I record a YouTube video, it always glitches on me, and then my iPad dies out, telling me to charge it, and then I have to redo it over and over again. So I'm gonna keep on doing it this way, and I won't rest until I finish this one. So yeah, I won't rest till I finish this YouTube video by every means necessary. So yeah, and now I also wanted to mention that it's just going to have two characters in here, the Prince Charming and Fairy Godmother in this one, which honestly is quite the only idea that I could come up with, at the time. And I just don't know why my iPad is doing this to me. Maybe it just wants to, make me angry. And it just feels like it, because it feels like it's too old for doing all this, but then be young again. That's what I ask my iPad to do, is to be young again, so that I won't have to go through all this. That's all I ask. Okay, now where were we? So Prince Charming is all like, oh well, I have to go get rid of some monster in order to find this fairy godmother person. Well, yeah, this is sort of how it's like. But then someone else actually explains that they heard about this whole fairy. Then the whole fairy godmother actually appears, and then tells Prince Charming that there's a big reward out there, a big villain out there who's deemed worthy. Now, there's actually a villain to this one. Still, long before the second movie, they were the good guys. So yeah, I'm just gonna say that they were the good guys long before, and yeah, I'll just leave it like that. So yeah, and then of course we see from this point of view that Prince Charming is all like, well, okay, I'll go destroy this real life fantasy like monster. And I'll say, okay, I'll go do that. And then, of course, they both agree. Then, of course, Prince Charming agrees, and then, of course, he and Fairy Godmother go on a quest. And then, it's kind of feels a lot similar to the Shrek 1 movie. But in this one, it's actually just sort of like a tale where, focusing on like both Prince Charming and Fairy Godmother throughout the and where they were throughout the first Shrek movie. So yeah, and then of course they both go through like different other monsters and all that they did to destroy like other monsters like you know what I mean. It kind of does make sense. But then there's this super ogre that lives far beyond that lives this there's a super pink ogre that they have to get rid of that's on like the far side of the world, and of course they both agree to go there, and then they of course go through leaving through a boat. So they of course go through a boat, obviously, because they have to through boat. They have to travel through a boat to get to a different island. So that seems like a fair bet. And to be honest, I hope that this glitching out on my iPad thing doesn't affect the reboot, remake, recreate, and the remastered version of this one. So you can kind of see what I'm going on with my head. Kind of see what I'm going on with this. It's totally like a new, different idea. And yeah, I don't know if it would keep on going on. I just want to say it. So yeah, let's skip through a lot of scenes. So I guess we just skip through most of the scenes, and then we see Prince Charming Fairy Godmother being all like, well, there's the evil pink ogre that we were gonna try and get rid of. So they of course have a super fine battle scene towards all that, and yeah, they of course have a super fine battle scene between all that. Both of them actually get rid of the super pink ogre, and then finally they head back to a land far, far away. They head back to a land far, far away. They of course are like very great and all by all that, and they're all like, "Yay, we did it! Yay, yay! You two are really the best. You two are the best duo of the whole world." And then of course they hear a word. And then of course they hear a word that there's a new duo of the world named Shrek and Donkey. And then of course, Prince Charming and Fairy Godmother are all like, "No, we destroyed a super pink ogre all for nothing, just so that two other people could steal our fame, just so they could steal our fame, glory, and title itself." Well, and then Fairy Godmother was all like, "Well, technically we didn't have a title." But then Prince Charming was all like, "Yes, we did. We had a title. We were the main duo, the one who destroyed the super pink ogre, and everyone seemed to love it for a second, and then the next minute they weren't into it. And thus they become angry so much that they become the bad guys. They of course burned down a few couple of villages, and they of course they of course burned down villages of different islands. they of course steal gold and all that, and kind of like how it is. And then of course it ends out on more of like an angry note, but an angry ending, but at least an angry, happy like ending, which I guess kind of does make sense. So yeah, the end. And then we get a post credit scene where both Fairy Godmother and Prince Charming are all like we're are all like we have a message stating that the person who was trying to destroy Lord Farquaad is dead. So then they of course find out that Lord Farquaad is dead, and they're all like, "What? Well, okay, that's joking." But then they realize that it's the truth. So yeah. And then of course cut to black. They say that they of course say no, and then that was and of course uh, and of course, that was my take on what would have happened if the Prince Charming and Fairy Godmother colon a Shrek story movie were in real life. Now, honestly, I felt a little bit more rushed throughout today's Wednesday's YouTube video because this was take two of one that I tried before, but one that didn't work out. I mean, sure, I do hope that next week Wednesday's 12-minute YouTube video isn't affected by this. And I don't know, maybe my iPad just wants to make me angry because every time it glitches out on me. Like one minute I create a YouTube video, and then it glitches on me and then it glitches on me, and then my iPad dies out on me when I'm making another one of these. So yeah, I guess it kind of does make sense. So yeah. Anyways, that's it for today. Peace out. Bye bye.